Now in its 9th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, this is Alex and this is the Ramble. And we go until midnight tonight. Here we are again, the morning team of Alex and Lori.
Part 2 or 3.
Yeah. How many years did we do it in San Francisco? About 11 years, right? Total?
Yeah, exactly.
Total.
And
yeah.
And there was, a little bit of a hiatus, and then you came back, much to my delight.
Yeah.
And the guy that they hired, it just wasn't a fit for him. He was a nice guy, but he was a shock jock. Yeah. And it was not you.
Yeah. So I came back and, we gave respectability back to the radio station. I remember the day I came back, the first rating book that came out, I figured, we'll go up a little bit, right? We went right back to where our numbers were whenever. And everybody
people were like, hey, have you heard?
But they didn't stay that way. Things go up and down. Ratings go up and down.
Live 105 does not exist anymore. It's
I know.
Yeah. And there is going to be a Live 105 reunion of like our heyday. Mm-hmm. And it's like a 3-day event planned by our promotions people. Do you remember the Melrose Report?
Yeah.
It's those two women. So that's going to be fun in September. I'm going to go. I'm going to definitely go.
Really? I didn't. Nobody's let me know about it.
Oh, well, I'm letting you know. Oh. And this crossed my eye because you've been to how many Burning Mans? Multiple, haven't you?
I went to the, I think the second Burning Man when they went to the desert. The Burning Man started in San Francisco, out by the Golden Gate Bridge. And they would do it every year, and then they moved it up to the desert in Nevada. And the second year that it was there, I and my friend Paul went up there and saw it, and it were like 5,000 people there.
Yeah, maybe. And now it's 8,000.
No, it's more like 100,000 show up.
Is it?
I mean, it's incredible.
Because it is. Is Grenlock the name of the town in Nevada?
Gerlach.
And so there's a big Burning Man finds himself in a really unusual battle with a company called, I think it's Ormat. And they are the biggest geothermal energy company in the United States. And they want to build a plant there. And Burning Man, even though Burning Man has a very noble theme, which is to leave no trace, they clean up
after it's over. They literally, people go into this desert. They throw their garbage around, they poop there and everything else. But when they leave, they try to clean up their area, and then they have this cleanup team that goes in for about a week and just literally scrubs that desert like you'd never know there was anything that happened there.
Exactly. Before they clean it up, it kind of looks after Burning Man. It looks like San Francisco.
Yeah.
So, just like old times. But that they do leave a huge carbon footprint because you have the RVs coming in, and people travel in style for that these days, don't they?
Oh, well, the last time we went, you see, what happened was I went with my friend Paul, and we decided we keep going there till somebody got killed.
Yeah. Has that happened?
Well, that happened the third time we went up there. And there were a couple of people that got killed. One of them were out in the middle of the desert, pitched their tent, and somebody, because you could get on that desert. You could start at one end at night, turn off your headlights, and just go straight. And it would take you about 40-50 minutes before you had to turn the lights on.
That's pretty tricky.
Right, because it's the largest, I think, single landmass of its sort in the country. It's just, there's nothing out there.
All
right. And so some people pitched their tent and somebody ran over them. That was one death. And I can't remember, there were a couple of others, and I can't remember what they were by, but Paul and I just said, well, this is the last we're going to do it. And then the next year, Paul died.
Yeah, so that was
So we
his
never
land.
went. But what we did is he rented a huge van, camper. What do you call those things?
RVs.
RVs, but this wasn't an RV. This was like a land ship,
Oh, a fifth wheel or something.
Oh, it just gigantic, okay? And we rented like 4 or 5 of them, okay? And
you had a compound.
because he was taking
Like
everybody from the company up there, and then we had this little enclave that we built, and we hung out there. I remember.
Yeah. Play was a really innovative company, weren't they? But they were stymied by several things. His death.
Play Incorporated was the name of the company, and they produced the first what we could call TV station in a box, and all the stuff you would need to do a full-blown TV show was in that box, and it was not expensive. It was like I think it was $5,000 or something.
Was it called the Video Toaster?
It was called, no, the Video Toaster came before it. This was Trinity, it was called.
Okay.
It wasn't named after any religious experience. Trinity, it was named after the first atomic explosion in the United States, which was the Trinity Project. And so we all went up there. I mean, I remember I was there with Dana Carvey's brother, Brad Carvey.
Brad, yeah.
Who Dana based that character of Garth, I think, on Dana, on Brad. And we just all went up there and enjoyed it and did what it did. But then somebody died, and we said, we're not going back. And the next year, Paul, at 41 years of age, had a heart attack and died.
That'll throw a company into mayhem.
And he was my best friend at the time. So
I know.
That was the first best friend I ever lost. Thing is, I keep losing best friends.
I know.
And the fact is that if you live long enough, all your best friends will die. If you outlive them.
Yeah. And that's, if you outlive them, it can be lonelier and lonelier.
It is. I mean, I was counting on Shecky to give the speech at my memorial, but it was not to be, So, I mean, now I don't have a best friend left in the whole world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost a guy named Steve, and then another one named Bruce David, and then Shecky. It was, and I told Shecky all the time, I said, I lost these 2 other best friends. You better not go, damn it.
That's right. And he did not heed your warning, your beseechment.
He never listened to me. Yeah.
He was a good guy. got to know him. That's how I met David. You facilitated our Letterman experiences. And I got to meet him when they were on a strike. So he was kind of roaming the halls, Letterman was. Yeah. And I was in his office, and he came in. And I remember we talked about Indiana because I have relatives there, and he grew up there. Yeah. That was the extent. So we had a Hoosier chat. Yeah. But that was it. Yeah, but they find themselves, Burning Man does, in a battle with this Ormat. And because Ormat essentially has a history of going into places like there's a big aquifer apparently under Gerlach, and they can access that for their geothermal plant, but then it also, like the ground sand.
Wait, where are they? They're building a geothermal plant in Gerlach?
They want to. They want to. They want to.
People, you got to know that Gerlach isn't in the middle of nowhere, but you can see it from there.
Yeah. No binoculars necessary.
Yeah.
But I think that Nevada has like 15 plants like that. And so it's a ripe territory for geothermal energy companies. And so it's, it's presented. It's one of those things that presents dilemmas from sides that you would think fighting climate change would be in unison, but not necessarily. But these are the times that.
So what is the problem with that and Burning Man? Is Burning Man being threatened?
Burning Man's opposing that.
Oh, they're opposing it.
Yeah, and so normally they would kind of be they both have the same goal of climate change, fighting climate change, right. And so it's made them odd.
Enemies.
Odd, yeah.
Wow.
Not downright enemies, opposite.
Gerlach is this town it's the town before you get to the desert. It's the closest one. Right. So if you want to go to lunch, first you got to drive through the desert, which will take you 30 minutes. And then you get on the highway and you go down and you spend another 15, 20 minutes driving, and you're in Gerlach. And at least at that time, there was only one restaurant there.
Yeah. Do they have food trucks that go to Burning Man? Because that would seem like.
No, I don't remember any food trucks. No, you had to bring your own food.
Oh, yeah. See, that would take some doing.
There may have been food trucks, but we didn't look for them because we had our own food. And every day for lunch, we'd get in the car and go to Gerlach.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it brings lots of do-re-mi into the town of Gerlach.
Oh, that town, if they ever stopped doing Burning Man, that town would dry up. Would just dry up. Yeah.
So this is an unusual conundrum.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, I like events like this that make you look deeper into a situation, that makes you get out of your trough and think about other implications. Yeah. But the Nevada, or there are 15 already in Nevada, and the ones that have been halted because of the toad, a particular species of toad that would have been eliminated if they built it there. So that got squashed.
Well, screw the toads.
Screw the toads. Now there's also.
I mean, did you ever care that much about a toad anyway?
I can't, unless it was a pet and he had a community and I didn't want to see him off, you know. I could see that, but I do not have a pet toad. Turtles here I've kind of adopted, because every once in a while they'll start looking for shade and you're looking one's down at your feet. So that's kind of nice.
That's adorable.
Yeah, it's very Evergladesy. But
you come up with words that have never been invented before. Evergladesy.
I know. See, that's
I'm sure if I went to a person who was a language expert, they would say that Evergladesy could be a word.
It should be, because it conveys what you're talking about.
It's Evergladesy.
Reflecting, and so that works. And
boy, this is like old times. I've always enjoyed just conversing with you.
Yeah, we had fun. I mean, every topic we could bring in and get some amplification. And when we took calls, we did not screen them until later.
And the same relationship is kind of going here. I mean, when you said Evergladesy, I went into my riff about what is that Evergladesy?
Yeah, well, and swamp-like. It's the marshes. It's the marshes that are the
swamp-like makes sense, you know. I mean,
yeah,
like my butt is swamp-like.
Can we sign up for an ongoing photo, a slideshow of the Everglades and your butt and how they merged over the years? They go together. But that's in Florida, and then there's the Okefenokee Swamp.
Oh, of course, I know the Okefenokee. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a cartoon. Remember Pogo? There was a cartoon called Pogo.
Yeah.
It was very popular. It was considered very cerebral and whatever. But it was all about these critters who lived in the Okefenokee Swamp.
Yeah, and there are critters. And when you get up close and personal, like I thought about joining one of those wildlife protection things, like restoring the reefs. You know, it's fun. You get out with some fun people and you pile up rocks. It's like childhood. So I thought about that one. But they do good work. I have been to weddings where people, instead of taking gifts, they will, you can sign your checks over to any number of coastal reclamation outfits. So that's kind of nice.
But I was thinking about just now, excuse me, but one of the animals that everybody loves are the polar bears, right?
Yeah.
How wonderful the polar bears are. Do you know what the most dangerous bear in the world is?
I would say it's our icy comrade,
the polar bear. Yeah.
That's right.
And if you go somewhere where there are polar bears and you're going to go for like a hike or whatever, you know what they hand you? A shotgun.
Forget the clubs. You might
because they say if you get anywhere near a polar bear, they're going to come and try and decimate you, and you got to go at it with the shotgun.
Yeah, well, bear kill more than deer every year. More people are killed by bears or by deer than bear.
By deer?
Yeah, deer, because deer.
Or maybe they hit. Maybe they hit your car and you go off the road. Is that it? Really?
That's it.
That is it?
Yeah, that is it. And so they were a huge problem in Des Moines, especially, I think they're what do they call that, crepuscular, where they tend to be active at night and at dawn. And
Yeah.
so going to work was always like, whoa, what are we going to see? Bambi's buds. You know, Bambi's offspring.
Nocturnal, I think, was the word you were looking for.
Yeah.
But you
yes.
could probably make up your own word. You're very good at that.
I think, yes, I am. And as it should be, everybody should be able to make up their own.
Now, what's the difference between Evergladesy, which I think was the word you used,
yes,
and Evergladian?
Probably yours is more accepted, or easy to find in the dictionary.
Can you believe we're sitting here sorting out the English language?
I know, but because I used to travel. Remember those 8-pound dictionaries that you had to have a stand for? Like,
yeah.
I got one of those. A friend got me the stand and the whole shooting match, and so I had to do something with the stand, and so I put the dictionary in my car in the passenger seat. And whenever you're at a stoplight, no time wasted.
Yeah, but you don't even need a dictionary anymore.
Well,
you just go. You just take your iPad and go to like Word.com or whatever.
Yeah, that would but this was in like the 90s, and so I would have that, and I was never bored. That's what it all is. It's how we alleviate boredom and find the fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
When you were a kid, mm-hmm. Did you have your parents buy an encyclopedia for you?
Oh, they bought the whole set and the Childcraft. And my dad would go through when they made updates and sent you stickers in the mail to put them at the bottom of the page. If there was an update, he would put those stickers in.
Do they even make encyclopedias anymore?
I can't imagine why they would.
I mean, I would imagine the Encyclopedia Britannica, if I looked it up, is online.
Oh yeah, I think
and
a
you
lot
could subscribe to it. Yeah, but you don't need an encyclopedia because you just go to Wikipedia and you type in the word and there you are.
Can you imagine if we'd had Wikipedia and Google when we were children? We would have been insufferable. Just walking around correcting people all the time.
Well, in some places they're not teaching kids, I think, how to write cursive anymore.
Oh no, because what do you need it for, really? Writing a check for some people is still an archaic.
I have not written a check in years, but the last time I did, I had to remember how to fill out each of the parts of the check.
Yeah, like the X's for 100 X.
Yeah, but
write the amount here.
But first, you have to write the number 100. Let's say $100 would be 100,000 line XX, right? And then you would write 1 ONE 100 HUNDRED dollars.
Yes.
And then you would go the same thing. 00/XX. Yeah,
it was for redundancy.
But I mean, I tried to do that one time, and I can't even write well anymore. I mean,
well, my penmanship I was pointed out by my cousin, because I write letters to my uncle, is illegible. So then I made a conscious effort to get more loopy.
Well, my full name is Bennett Schwarzman, as you know. And when I write it now, it's Bennett. I can get that out. And then SEHWR.
I know. It just ends then. Well, probably when you first started getting asked for autographs, you saw a big decline in your legibility. That's why doctors, you can't read them.
Well, when I did my autograph, it was Alex Bennett. It wasn't, Bennett Schwarzman.
That's true. That's true.
If I'd had to sign Bennett Schwarzman on everything, I'd get writer's cramp.
That would be like when they used to ask me, like, you go to the bank, you open an account, or you do anything. They would ask for a password, and I would give them these long, complex things that had sentimental connection to my childhood. And I had a bank executive look over their glasses at me and go, "Are you sure you want something that time consuming?" And it was just like, "You're right. Yeah, that's it. One word."
Yeah. We were having an argument the other day on the show about where do you keep your money these days? Like, the stock market ain't the greatest idea right now.
No. And there are so many unregulated banks. I was listening
the banks. I'm going to put it in a bank.
It's scary.
let's say I've got $500,000, not $250,000, and I want to put it in a bank that's FDIC insured up to $250,000. I got to put it in two separate banks.
Exactly. And the online banking industry is not regulated as nearly as I think it should be. So those are kind of iffy. Not all. I'm not saying that as a blanket statement. I'm saying if you online bank, look into it. Look into their viability as a company. Yes. Because we had Silicon Valley Bank.
Well, I went into a bank a couple of weeks ago, and they asked me for identification, and I said, "Show me yours first." Because I want identification out of a bank. I want to see your flexibility. And all these banks have turned into horror shows. I mean, I go to Bank of America, and they're doing terrible stuff to people. What I love best is you put like $50,000, say, in your account. Mm-hmm. And you tell them, I will go with the high yield interest, okay? Mm-hmm. Because I've got 50,000 in there, and they say, well, you have to keep at least 2,000 of it in there. And I go, fine, no problem. And then I get my statement, and I see what my interest payment was on $50,000. And it was like $1.
Yeah, it's very well. The interest rates were so low, and then Powell gets on there and makes whatever he does happen, and it's caused a lot of chaos. Silicon Valley Bank, which was
it was the bank for Silicon Valley, for all the big startups and
and there are like so many high profile things that have gone out of business. I mean, Bed Bath and Beyond, but that's
well, see, I think everybody's doing cutbacks lately, and my argument was that if they wanted to save Bed Bath and Beyond, they should have done away with the Beyond.
Yeah, and changed it to Beyonce. Bed Bath and Beyonce. Staff all look like Beyonce. Beyonce karaoke, dance. You had to earn your discount by dancing to Beyonce.
Yeah, no, but if they just did away with Beyond, they might be able to exist, but they didn't want to cut back on the Beyond.
And you got confusing. People are daunted by too many options. That's why at the registries for weddings are a good idea, except people who registered at Bed Bath and not Beyonce have run into trouble because their registries, first of all, it was like not available. And now the data is getting shrinked. So that's a concern. So register at Amazon or something you think is stable at, a body shop. You're going to need that. A plastic surgeon. That's right. That's what. And I'm up here. I'm with you today without my Botox, which I'm due for. So I'm taking a brave step out of vanity.
Oh, well, you're not old enough now, but
I will be.
What is it they put in us to stop? Like if you have arthritis, I always get a shot right here of.
There's something.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. It stings like hell, but it makes it go away for a while.
I'll get that.
Yeah. Well, whatever that substance is, my wife is 90% that substance now. She goes in and she gets a cortisone. She gets a cortisone shot for everything. Oh, I got my butt's hurting me. I got to go get some cortisone. Boom.
My eyelashes.
She's 90% cortisone.
But you have a hot wife. I mean, she's beautiful. And she wants people to have the cheekbones.
She only photographs that way. If you have to wake up in the morning next to her, it's a different story altogether.
Oh, yeah, come on. Well,
But wait a minute, so you get Botox, huh?
I do in my forehead because I have a thing here that comes out. I don't care to look my age. I just don't want to look stern. And it makes me look overly serious and stern. Like the chick in Billions. Mm-hmm. Is it Billions? The one with the really dynamic English actor.
Yeah, I didn't watch that show, but
yeah, the woman that played the in-house psychiatrist, I can't remember her name. Mm-hmm. She had a huge one. I can't imagine she didn't notice it on camera, because sometimes you notice on camera things that you don't. Yeah. And I think she's since had it fixed, and it's not much of a commitment. It's like every 3 months, and they keep.
Women always, when they're watching television, notice those kind of things. Guys don't. Marjorie always notices something on a woman on TV, like, oh, the left side of her face is drooping more than the right side of her face. Things like that.
Well, I think the female anchors midday on CNBC wear wigs, because you can kind of tell there's like a...
Oh, really?
They don't attend to the hairline well enough. That's my theory.
Well, it makes it easier. Because somebody can work on the wig and then you put it on, you go on. You don't have to do
I'm
your hair.
not against it. Yeah, I just think they ought to pay more attention.
It's television. It's cosmetic.
Exactly.
I'm not a newswoman. I'm a beauty.
I'm a journalist.
I'm not a journalist. I'm a beauty.
Yeah, God, that's it, man. Anymore. It was a Reddit question.
I can't tell you how much I enjoy this.
Oh, Ben, it's a blast.
It's like no time has passed between you and I and our relationship to each other. And
to bring the fact that we got to wake up with so many people every day and maybe make their day a little lighter because of our goofy.
Yeah.
Or just
wait a minute, our show made them lighter.
Yeah. I just thought it was. I always used to picture somebody driving in from Hayward. We did in the Bay Area, and just getting a chuckle.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's why we did it. And let me not say it to lead you all wrong. We did it for the money too. Anyway,
and there were some days it was so fun. You can't. It was I can't believe they're paying.
I can't believe we're working. And it wasn't. It wasn't work. Yeah, it was the best. I said that when 10 o'clock came, we're running over here, but to hell with it. Well, I said that when 10 o'clock came, the best part of my day was over with.
I know. And so that timing still feels like I get kind of...
I also added the term, how pathetic is that? But, Anyway, can we talk again? I just have so missed this.
Same here. I would love it. And like I say, and the fact that we get to talk to our friends across the country.
Stick around after we're through here. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate it.
Love you.
Lori Thompson, ladies and gentlemen.
Now in its 9th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Oh, okay. Let me turn on the lights here. There we go. All right. Turn on the lights, Bennett, you stupid idiot. Yeah. Don't turn off the lights. Anyway, hello, everybody. How are you? I'm Alex, and this is Thursday. And, it's time for us to go check our citizen panel, which, Thursdays, I'm thinking of not doing a show on Thursdays. Because while I do appreciate the people that are here, it still is something that, kind of dismays me a bit. I mean, also the number of people who have been calling the show not been very good lately. So, whatever. Let me see here. Let me bring on the Zoom panel. There they are. There's Jeff and there's Alan. Hello, Jeff and Alan. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing better. All over the news in the past couple minutes.
What do you mean?
The Senate passed the debt ceiling bill.
Yeah, yeah.
So Biden will probably sign it tonight, and that will be one less headache.
One less headache, but do you think? Well, we'll get into this in a second.
Okay. Sorry.
But there will be no Jack Bishop show tonight. There'll be no intersection. Because he had to go to a hospital.
Okay.
Something to do with the prostate.
Oh, yeah, I do know that problem.
Well, if you're lucky, the day will come when, like Phil, you have to get rid of your prostate, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, no more prostate infections.
That's the one thing. People say, Alex, do you believe in God? And I go, not really. Because if there were a God, he wouldn't have invented the prostate.
No shit.
Or at least designed it the way he designed it, which is like a little walnut-shaped, sized organ
that chokes off your urethra.
The urethra goes right through it, okay?
Yeah.
And as you get older, your prostate enlarges and starts to clamp down on your urethra. Now, if he had just put it up here instead of through here,
Right.
everything would have been fine. So is there a God? Well, if there is, he's not a very good engineer.
No.
I've got somebody trying to get on here, but I don't believe him. So I've had a couple people trying to get on, and they're, hey, would you bro, right? Does that sound like a legitimate name? Hey, would you bro? Anyway, so Jack has a problem tonight. So if we want to run this thing short tonight, I will. I don't know. I'm here if you want me. If you come and join us. And not that Jeff and Alan aren't good guests to have, but
there'll be more.
But it's getting insulting.
There'll be more.
It's getting
Thursdays
insulting.
are always bad for you.
Yeah, but like last night, we only had like 6 people. And
that was a good interview with Lori, by the way.
Oh, well, Lori's terrific. I'm going to do more with her.
Good.
I haven't got any in the can right now, so I gotta call her and write her and see if she wants to do some more. Here comes Brian Neary. I hope it's Brian Neary. Let me keep my finger on the button here as long as these people are trying to make life miserable for me. Let's see here. Is it Brian? Is it Brian? Is it Brian? Is it Brian? Yes, it is Brian. He's in his car. Oh, and here comes Phil Meyer. Okay. But
Phil, really?
Yeah, Brian, you can hang up now if you want to.
I'm going through a tunnel. Sorry, I may get disconnected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry about the view, but I'm driving the wife's Tesla to Lodi right now.
I thought you almost said your wife's testicle. Yeah. But that's it.
I'm going to work a night shift tonight.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I want to connect with the night shift guys. Haven't seen them for a while, so.
Let me ask you something about the Tesla. Do you ever kind of get scared that you're going to run out of electricity?
So my car, my normal driver is in the shop overnight.
Yeah.
And I had to go to this tonight. So it was sort of unexpected for the car to go in the shop. So I text Tiffany and I said, can I use your car tonight so I don't have to drive the McLaren up to Lodi because my Cadillac's in the shop? So she said, well, I only have 30%. So she came home. On the way home, she stopped at a supercharger and charged it up to about 80%.
Yeah.
And then now I leave there. She says, is this enough? I said, that's fine. Just get me the car home and then I'll figure it out. Because it goes about 179 miles on that. And then I can look on Lodi, it's about 100 miles each way. So I know after I get up there, we have some units at work, so I can actually charge while I'm working tonight.
Okay, now let me ask you a question. You say she charged it at a fast charger and got it up to 80%. How long did that take?
About 30 minutes.
Really?
Wow.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. So when you go to the office and you charge it at your job, how long does it take to charge it up?
I don't know how fast these chargers are, but the superchargers, like when we go to San Diego in a few weeks, we'll stop probably 2 times, and it's about 45 minutes to an hour. But they have, like Tesla has nice, like the big ones on I-5, they have like a nice cafe and they have bathrooms and nice couch seating and everything. So, and then they usually have these at places where there's, McDonald's and all those kind of places.
Yeah.
So we usually stop at that one.
Wait a minute. You're breaking up a little bit there. You're breaking up on us.
So we'll stop there, charge it. We'll go grab it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably just where I'm driving.
Yeah. Anyway, hello.
Yeah, it's probably just where I'm driving.
Hello to Phil. How are you, Phil?
Hey, I'm just still working on setting up the new computer.
Yeah. So we're going to put up for the whole show with you clicking on stuff to see why it's working or not working.
I realized that I didn't have any pictures imported into the Zoom on this computer. So I've got to blur the background. I've got another hub coming, so I just got one hub, a Thunderbolt 3 dock. And but I need more USB ports.
Well, what you just said was very boring to most of the audience.
Yeah, they don't have a 4-hub?
Well, I don't know. I bought this Thunderbolt 3 dock. I don't know. Most of the things that I have plugged into it are USB.
Yeah, well, that's why you know. But you can plug these. The Thunderbolts can be used also as USB-Cs, I believe, as well.
Yeah,
so.
I'm using that too.
Yeah.
Because the studio doesn't have a lot of ports.
Mine does.
Well, mine has the same amount of ports as yours, but I need more.
Well, then you just add USB ports to them.
Well, that's what I did.
Yeah, I put it in USBs. I mean, I have 2 monitors plugged into mine. You know, I'm fine, good to go.
Same thing. Nobody knows what you're.
Look at that! Look at that shot out of Brian's window. My God.
This is going through Livermore. This is 84 going through Livermore. They've widened it up to 2 lanes each way.
Yeah.
If Benita's on the call, she'll know that. So this used to be a single lane going, but they're widening everything out here.
Wow.
You know,
as Jim Browning used to say, he's not in the middle of nowhere, but you could see it from there.
No, that was my line.
Oh, I thought it was
Alex just said that the last half hour ago.
And I don't know who I stole it from.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So, anyway, but no, because I wish we had Charlie here, because tonight I saw on TikTok a picture of a freeway in Houston, Texas, that's supposedly the widest freeway probably in the world. It looked like it had, 8, 9 lanes on each side?
Ooh.
Do you know of that? Wow. Yeah.
I've seen the over ramp, like going from one big freeway to another.
Mm-hmm.
They have in Texas, and they have these over, the ramps going over and over another one. Looks pretty crazy.
Yeah.
In Texas.
Yeah. But that's Texas, So anyway, how you all doing? You good? Doing well? Your lives treating you okay? Our Senate just passed the bill, the
debt ceiling bill.
Debt ceiling bill.
I don't care. I got my Social Security payment a week ago, so if it would have, stopped it, it would have been fine with me.
Well,
typical Republican doesn't give a shit about anybody else but himself.
That's right.
Yeah, but I mean, they just tippy toe always up to the chasm, and they look over, and then they eventually do it. Marjorie's going, "Oh, are they going to do it? Are they going to?" I said, "They always do it. They always get there at the last minute, because neither party wants to be considered responsible for us suddenly going, off a cliff financially in this country." And I don't know exactly what it would do,
North Korea wouldn't loan us money anymore, because they would say we're not
right. We wouldn't be able to get that good money from North Korea. Yeah, actually, if you don't want to take North Korea's money, all the government has to do is call me up, and I'll give them some Gabnet bucks.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but
a whole bunch you've been laying around.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just this whole, to begin with, I'll tell you what I saw that was wrong. They took away $1.4 billion from the IRS.
Oh, that was not wrong.
No, wait a minute. No, you don't like the IRS because you don't like paying taxes. But taxes
Nobody does, especially Trump.
Taxes are what make things keep rolling in this country. Okay? All right?
Well, how about spend
less?
I
mean, if you want, well, then how about cutting the military budget by 2/3? Start with that one right there. What do we need this huge budget? The closest country to us is England, who's only at a fifth of what we are.
Well, that was one of the good things that Trump did, is said that NATO needed to start forking over more dough rather than us being
but that wasn't coming out of our military budget.
Well,
I'm just saying, I think our military, and this time they still gave the military more. But the thing is, the reason you want the IRS to have agents is so they have the ability to go out and start auditing, especially the big corporations, which they haven't done because they don't have the manpower to do it.
Well, it's not the big corporations. They got 87,000 agents for. It's people like you.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
You.
No, it isn't. Because what we pay in taxes is minor in comparison to what the corporation should be paying.
Wait till those guys get out there.
Yeah,
and
you just don't like them because you think they're evil and they're horrible. But come on, somebody has to collect the taxes. Otherwise, let's just do away with them for everybody. If you're going to do away with them for the corporation, do away with them for you.
Some of the most successful countries in the world don't have taxes.
Oh,
well, thank you for stopping by, Phil.
Yeah, thanks, Phil.
Have a good night.
Did you have a good night 60 Minutes last week or a couple weeks ago? The guy talking about all the defense spending and
the defense spending is ridiculous. I mean, the kind of things the defense will pay for. Hello, Brian Sigmund. Anyway, that's kind of weird, the picture you've got there, Brian.
I don't think he has a green screen.
No, but then if you don't have a green screen, don't use the thing that that comes with Zoom, because it just doesn't look good. Looks terrible. Yeah. Well, there goes Brian's picture. Anyway, where was I going with this?
You were happy about getting audited.
No, I wasn't happy. I'm not happy about getting audited. In fact, I've never been audited.
Well, it's time you were.
But
bend over and spread them.
The IRS. I mean, I agree that some of the IRS rules need to change in the way in which they deal with people, okay? But I don't think that by cutting down on the amount of money the IRS gets to go out and do audits, that's all. You want to save money? That's how you do it, because you're able to collect money.
They're collecting enough.
What do you mean? No,
they're a little less.
Obviously, they're not collecting enough because
and
we can't.
You got a problem. You got a problem with people that are able-bodied collecting welfare, doing a little bit of work.
Absolutely.
Problem with that one?
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, it's a free lunch.
Hey, anybody. Hey, listen. We have more jobs right now. There aren't enough people to fill all the jobs that are open. Right?
That's true.
So my feeling is that we should pay some people not to work. Oh. All right, just like we pay farmers not to grow crops.
How
does that sound, Brian?
I don't know. Pay people not to work because there's a shortage of labor.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, like with what do you call it, with or either Brian or Kevin or anybody, you have farmers who are paid not to grow crops because they do crop rotation. Why don't we do people rotation? I mean, if people don't want to work, then let's pay them not to work, because there are jobs that other people want to take. That's all I'm saying.
Well, in Maryland, I have a friend of mine he comes from a family many generations. His last name is Whittington. And down in Maryland, what they did to his family was they didn't want to be associated with growing tobacco crop. Okay. So as a political signaling thing, they decided we're not going to grow. They paid farmers not to farm.
Yeah.
I mean, something like that is, that's a little extreme. You know what I mean? And it's all for political gesturing. There's nothing really genuine behind that. So I don't know.
Can't they grow different things than tobacco? So, for instance, they can plant, I don't know, corn or whatever other things they grow.
Well, we don't need corn. We got we got enough
out of corn now.
We have enough corn in this country. I mean,
well, tobacco was more profitable, so you would have to pay them not to grow it. That's the point.
Yeah, but what happens is if they grow the same thing over and over, the soil ends up getting depleted. I think they have to rotate the crops in order to keep the soil from.
That's true. But I mean, any good farmer would know to do that so he doesn't screw himself over. It's not something that has to be regulated. Farmers rotate the crops because it's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, all I'm saying
why
is,
wouldn't they grow?
Kevin, what do you think about this whole debt thing? That they just passed.
Honestly, I didn't pay a lot of attention to it, except the fact that I wouldn't get a check. I saw some of it. I didn't see the whole thing. But, some of it I agree with. But I don't know. I'd have to look at what they're cutting to really have an opinion on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I don't disagree with any kind of cuts, but it depends on where they're going.
Yeah, but some of the cuts. I mean, there were some cuts in the education area and so on. There was a lot of stuff they cut that, is stuff that's people's stuff.
How about the COVID funds that never got used?
Well, how about the COVID funds you collected that,
Well, they got used.
How did they get used? Yeah,
no,
yeah,
but
exactly.
The government has a budget for COVID funds that they've never dispersed. Mm-hmm. And so that can be redirected.
Now, I don't think anybody has an argument with that, although the question is, and I wish Charlie were here to answer this question, is COVID over with?
Of course not.
Not in your household.
Huh?
Not in your household.
Not in my household, but is it over with?
No.
You can't prove it by me. I
don't think it'll ever be over.
But I think, like we said before, it's going to be like the flu every year.
Yeah. Another disease on the list.
Just another variant of flu. That's how we're reacting to it in detection business.
Okay, but you're in the detection business, right?
Yeah.
Is everybody sitting around on their haunches kind of waiting for the next big one to come?
No.
We're moving on back to how we were before COVID. Before COVID, we had about 20 other infectious diseases that we're testing for, and when COVID came, we stopped doing everything just for COVID to help. So now we're getting back to all of our other assays. So,
but that's not
for us. We're treating it just like another flu.
But that's not really my question. My question was, now let's say we have COVID to a certain level of manageability. Let's say that, okay?
Yep.
What are the chances that another pandemic of another nature is going to come along?
Good.
Well, we were there. We were there for Zika. We were there for, we've been there for all these diseases that popped up, and the government asked us to stop everything to help them. So, we did a lot of stuff before for research use only.
But
we're not sitting there waiting for the next one. We know there's going to be something. We just don't know how big it's going to be.
That's right.
Well, I mean, but the question is, if it is something else, Zika, while it was dangerous and a problem and so on and so forth, never became the problem that COVID became. COVID was decimating.
But our reaction time was just as quick. We took like 30 days to come up with a test for it. So that's how we are. We're waiting. We're definitely waiting for anything that happens that they need. I mean, we just did monkeypox also. Yeah. Monkeypox didn't come that big, but we're there to do detection through DNA very quickly.
Well,
that's how we've been for since I've been there over 19 years now.
For detecting monkeypox, don't you just simply throw peanuts out?
We just show a picture of Phil.
Oh, that'll chase monkeys away. That's for sure.
Yeah, that will chase them away.
It chased the disease right out of you.
Well,
we've always been like that. That's our niche. Our niche is to get testing very, very quickly and very accurately.
Good.
I think a lot of it depends on the spread rate too. I mean, if there's something that's going to spread real fast, like COVID did, that makes a big difference too.
Oh, wait a minute. Trump said it's no worse than a cold.
Right.
Yeah.
And reactions like that can cost.
And it would mutate to the point where it would be no worse than a cold.
Yeah, he didn't say that though.
Yeah. Well, he was Mr. Science. He knew everything about science.
Yeah, with experts.
Now, topic number 2. Have you heard the latest about Trump and the classified documents?
Oh, yeah. Did you watch that little argument last night on TV?
Argument? What was the argument? Tell me.
Oh, Abby, what's her name from CNN, drilled, what's his name? Mr. Trusty? The lawyer, Mr. Trusty?
Mr. Trusty? Is that his name?
That was his name.
This isn't the guy that looks like a mobster, is it?
No, it's the other guy that looks like John Goodman about 20 years ago.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. She was drilling him, and he just, it was pretty funny.
Well, what happened is that they found a tape of Trump talking to somebody and admitting he had classified documents.
Yeah.
And telling them what it was about, which was about Iran.
And he was trying to defend it.
Invasion of Iran or something, yeah.
What?
Possible war with Iran.
The possible war with Iran? Yeah. So, come on.
He was trying to defend it.
I mean, you can't defend it. He says, well, I declassified them. I'm sorry, a president can ask things to be declassified, but he can't declassify them. And this is just another nail in the coffin for him with this situation. It's not getting any better.
It's funny because when I saw it was last night, I think, and I saw it about 10 o'clock our time out here, and I saw it as his lawyer, and then today I saw another little snippet, and it was listing him as his former lawyer.
Oops.
So I think
he could have been his lawyer yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Must have gotten fired or something overnight.
Well,
I was listening.
They either fire or they quit because they don't get paid. Yes, Brian.
Right.
With a Y.
No, I listened to a guy named Bo, the Fifth Column. He puts out little snippets throughout the day of all the headlines that come in, little 4-minute videos, and he was just talking about how this trial for this is going to end up being what he called a push-play trial, where all they're going to have to do is not really make a lot of arguments, but just show everything that's been on record, that's been said, talked about, and I mean, he's just, to be his defense lawyer has got to be a freaking nightmare.
Well, it's a nightmare on two levels. Number one, you don't know if you're going to have a job tomorrow.
Or get paid.
Number two, you don't know if you're going to get paid. And number three, you have an uncontrollable client. If you hire a lawyer, I learned this a long time ago. I don't go into the courtroom and then tell the lawyer what to do or decide I'm going to say what I got to say in the courtroom that he may have told me not to say. I mean, Trump is the worst of all possible clients you could have. The only thing I like about Trump is in the last couple of days, did you hear what he said about DeSantis?
No.
That DeSantis didn't do anything for COVID in his state. Cuomo did a much better job in New York.
He's right.
And I had to say, well,
right.
A stopwatch is right once, twice a day.
DeSantis didn't close the state down. He didn't close the schools down.
That's right, and that's one of the
masks. And his COVID numbers were no worse than anybody else.
Oh, that's funny, Phil. I like when you tell jokes.
Why?
Yeah, but the stakes
so far off.
Wait a minute.
With the information that we had all along the time, the stakes were higher. So I could see how he gambled, and he wasn't really that far off because of all the things that come to light. But at the time, he was just going along with the bullshit, the right wing bullshit. So I mean, like he may have stepped in shit and came up smelling like roses, but he's still. But
and so did Kristi Noem, or what's her name? Noem.
What?
The one from North Dakota. She did the same thing. But North Dakota doesn't have the population that Florida does.
Florida doesn't have the population either. You think of Florida as having a huge population, and it
a pretty good size.
It has a decent sized population, but not like California or New York or even Illinois.
Well, California, New York, and Illinois were the ones that were the most draconian, and they had the highest numbers.
Yeah, we had high numbers because what happened was we were the first ones to get COVID. Okay, we were like the test strip here, because what happened is that COVID started. Everybody was saying, "Oh, it's going to come in from Asia," right? Well, it didn't come from Asia. It came in here through Europe. All right, it worked its way across the continent.
People to Europe.
Wait a minute, let me finish what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it then made it to here, and what happened was they were coming in the airports with COVID like crazy, and before we knew it, we were infected. We didn't know that was what was happening. but that's what was happening. That wasn't happening to Florida at that time. So we had to take very draconian steps to try and stem the tide. Yes.
I just wanted to give a little factoid here. On Fox News, total number of COVID cases in the United States as of March 10th, 2023. California had the most, had 12 million.
When was this again?
As COVID, as of 2023, as of March 10th, 2023, about a month ago.
And this is since the beginning of COVID.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. So California had the most with 12 million. Florida had the second most with 9.8 million. Yeah, so Phil's not. They didn't have any problems there.
So it was second. Where did New York wind up?
New York is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down the row, and they had 6,700.
Okay. You know, New York didn't report. They had 14,000 that died in the old age homes, and you know they didn't say that.
But they were reported later on, Phil. They were reported later
after
on.
they kicked the guy out of office for lying.
No, he wasn't kicked out of office for lying. That isn't, Phil. You're absolutely wrong. Do you know
lying and groping?
Wait, no, not lying. He never was thrown out of office for lying.
Well, they decided not to prosecute him on the false numbers.
No, they said they weren't going to prosecute him because they didn't have any evidence that he was there was any malfeasance of office. That's the reason they didn't. They didn't. I'm telling you, Phil. I live in this state. I know what happens in this state.
Yeah. Well,
no. Don't try to tell me what goes on here.
Ask Tony's mother. You know.
I don't. Oh, Jesus.
And
Phil.
Even Tony would be upset with you invoking his mother for the sake of an argument.
No, he wouldn't.
DeSantis didn't have a crystal ball, and he's not exempt from being correct on things. It's just, you know, don't call me some kind of a genius if I put my kid's college fund on red and it hits. You know, like
you
know, and by the way, my grandmother and my mother takes care of my grandmother. She's 102, and she down in Florida in Sun City Center. I would go down. I would call her and say, "What's going on down there?" And in those communities, those retirement communities, they thrived in despite of what the politics were in Florida, because they had people out there wiping handles down at the pharmacy every time someone came in. I mean, you know, they had to take care of themselves. So, you know, people still stuck to their guns with stuff. And try to thrive and survive the way they could. You know, I don't give DeSantis a lot of credit for what went on down there, but you know, I'll just say that he wasn't all wrong.
Well, no, but you have to understand, Brian. As I said before, Florida was not a port of entry in this country, not a major port of entry into this country. New York was, and that's the reason why we got it, and we got it before we were even expecting it. And then we got it so fast that we didn't know how to handle it because there was no previous metrics for dealing with it, okay? So Cuomo, who was very good with this, had to invent the metrics, you know? He had to, you know, suddenly get people to put masks on. He went on every night, told people to wear masks. And when the vaccinations started happening, he started hustling people to go get the vaccinations. He saved my life.
Yep.
Yeah. No matter what you want to say, a guy my age, 83, he saved my goddamn life. Yes.
And he helped the entire country too, because it wasn't until Cuomo was going out every single day where then the Trump administration had to finally do that.
Yeah.
You know, and then that exposed a lot of things.
They were doing a bad job of it because you had Trump giving false information like, oh, you know, you can drink bleach, can't you? That's what he did say, Phil. I heard it.
He said they used bleach to kill the virus.
He said inject bleach.
He says they use bleach to kill the virus. Why can't they come up with something?
But you don't use bleach to kill the virus.
Phil, he said we're looking into that, right? That's wrong. No one was looking into that because it was all stupid.
Also, the hydrochloroquine thing, that was a total fake deal.
And
okay.
the fluorescent tube up your ass.
Oh yeah. Also, yeah. If we run ultraviolet light in your body,
They used the blue light to kill germs. All he was doing was asking questions. He was thinking out loud.
Well, he shouldn't have thought out loud during a national crisis where people were dying. That's irresponsible,
That's the way he
Phil.
operates.
Well, then that's
Phil.
irresponsible.
Phil, you don't think out loud like that.
Of course I do.
Like, why are you making
Believe me,
excuses
Phil
for,
does.
Well, why are you making excuses for being a complete dumbass? That's what I don't understand with the whole Trump thing. It's like people make excuses for him. Like, Phil, you're nothing like Trump. You just maybe think.
Oh, I don't know about that. You got to know him better, Brian.
No. I'm sorry. I people, the smartest people I know, I well respected, are into Trump, and they're nothing like him. They're nothing like him.
Personality-wise, Brian, personality-wise, I agree with you. I don't.
Other Brian with an I. Brian.
So I may lose you guys because, believe it or not, my phone's dying and I can't charge it with this book here. So okay, so the one thing that pissed me off about Trump was when he had his speech a couple weeks ago. He said that he said that if he was president, he would have that war stopped right away. It's terrible. People are dying. If I was president, I would stop it tomorrow. But people are dying and it's horrific. So if it's so fucking horrific, why doesn't he still go and stop it now? If he has this magic plan that he can stop it right away, why wouldn't he do that?
Because he's a citizen.
Well, Phil, I got
now.
news for you. There are a lot of presidents who've been citizens who have who've done stuff.
Yeah, that was one of the problems that a number of administrators that were coming into Trump's thing. I don't believe that they.
No, Phil, he's using it like a threat. No, he's using it like a threat.
It's a campaign thing.
If you make me president, then I can stop this because it's horrific. But since I'm not going to help you guys and stop this war. I'm not going to help stop all of the people dying in Ukraine.
You're too young, Brian, to remember Nixon and the Paris Peace Accords, where he said he had a secret. He had a secret, and he was going to stop the Vietnam War. It was a campaign promise. There was no secret. And Trump saying a campaign thing like that is just what.
Yeah, but Phil, I don't take that as an excuse. When you say things like that, you're saying, "Hey, I have the secret for solving the Ukraine problem." Well, then let us know.
Well,
tell us, so we can do something about it. Why? We have to reelect you in order to find out what that is. But what I'm saying is, it's just as illegitimate as what Nixon did.
That's exactly what I just said.
So am I supposed to? What is happening to
Brian?
Brian's moving to another room.
Yeah.
What Nixon did was terrible. Gave people false hope, a lot of things.
I understand.
And people had their kids dying over there, okay? So it was definitely false hope in that case. Right. And in this case, with the Ukraine, hey, listen, you got an idea on how you're going to solve it? Then why don't you let us know what it is now?
There is a possibility. There is a possibility.
And maybe even write or talk to our president and say, hey, I'd like to help you with this. I think maybe I can talk to Putin.
Why should he help the guy that he's going to run against?
Because you want to help the United States, Phil, because you want to help the human race, and not because you're a selfish son of a bitch, which is exactly what Trump is, because if it doesn't help Trump, it doesn't get done.
Well, let me ask you this. You think Biden wants Trump to have a victory before the election?
Then why doesn't he do it? Let
me ask you something.
Why doesn't he go over there with all this media, go over there and talk to Putin and stop the war tomorrow? Why doesn't he do that?
That's what he says he could do if he was president, but he can't do it.
He can do it, Phil. As a private citizen, he could still go over there, and as a former president, and talk to Putin. Other presidents former presidents have done it.
Only with the sanction of the government.
No, you can do it without the sanction of the government.
He wants, Phil.
Biden is not going to give that to Trump.
Trump can't do anything. All Trump is to Putin is this sucker.
Well,
Yeah.
you should ask Josh tomorrow if
Bring his soccer ball back.
citizens can go over and negotiate for the government. But
No, I'm not saying negotiate. I'm saying mediate.
well, I know that Jimmy Carter had overseen elections in other countries to make sure that they were legitimate.
Yeah.
But I don't think this is the same thing.
Former presidents can if they want to. A lot of them don't. A lot of them want to just they had enough of world politics and they don't want to deal with it anymore.
Well, I think that Trump could be the one that could stop this war. And I'll tell you what, because he could get an audience with both Zelensky and...
Zelensky wouldn't even talk to Trump. Trump is...
I don't think that's true.
Why Trump made him look like crap, tried to make him look like crap.
All over him.
And Zelensky said that Trump didn't ask him anything that was wrong.
But he pissed all over Zelensky.
I don't think so.
Yes, he did. Don't you remember, Phil?
I remember.
Where's your
Zelensky
memory?
saying,
Where's your memory?
Zelensky
It's
saying
like
Trump didn't do anything
it's
wrong.
like Trump is your little bastard child, who basically you forgive all the things he does. Oh, he's killed a chicken in the neighbor's yard. Oh well, it's not my son. My son wouldn't do that.
Of course not.
Alan
would.
Nobody
Phil,
put a
what?
point. Huh?
Once Trump is out of favor during this election, he'll back Chris Christie. Phil will.
I don't think so.
Well,
I hope Chris Christie lights a fire under his ass.
Oh, he will. He plans to.
Yeah. And
He's got that chicken.
You know what they're all sitting around waiting for is they're all kind of like hedging their bets, and they're just kind of waiting, and they're waiting to see what happens with Trump and all these cases against him, which are all going to come down at the same time. You know that.
Oh yeah.
One right after the other, and he's
Right
going to be
before
so
primary
far up
season.
to his ass in litigation that he won't even be able to run a race. And then they've got some real ammunition against him. The biggest piece of ammunition they have against Biden is that he tripped today.
Again.
Yeah. No, I mean really tripped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Round dot.
Biden isn't spending all this money in the gym to work out and twist his ankle and messes up his shoulder and stuff.
Oh yeah, I got hurt.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I want to say. Like, Phil, put some faith in yourself and your own brain power and your own.
Well, if we do that, we're all in trouble.
Well, hold on and ask yourself, okay, just put yourself in those shoes. What exactly do you think you could do with the power of the presidency to say broker that peace deal? That would work. Like, you can't just give away half of Ukraine and expect Zelensky to roll over. Like, really broker that deal. And it's not too far of a stretch to think that this is all Trump just spouting bullshit. No, of course he doesn't have. He doesn't have a plan.
Trump was the first guy to get 5 Arab countries to sign peace accords with Israel. I think Trump has got the ability to do it, but on the other hand, I think Trump has been weakened by the media and by all of these cases. I like.
How's he weakened by the media when you have half the media on his side?
No, the media's not on his side.
Whose side is Fox on?
They're not on his anymore.
Oh, well, maybe because he blew his relationship with them, but he does have Fox. I mean, emotionally. Wait a minute, let me finish. He's got Fox. He's got Newsmax. Okay, he's got
Roger Ailes.
He's got OAN. Okay, he's also got CNN. In that CNN is now trying to be neutral. So the only organization that is really on Biden's side and is touting Biden is MSNBC.
Well, I tell you.
So tell me how nobody's backing Trump.
Right now, Gabnet has more listeners than OAN and Fox.
And Fox? No, Fox still has a lot of listeners.
Yeah, but they've lost a lot.
Not as many as you think. Not as many. No, Tucker Carlson hasn't caused them very many listeners, because the listeners were going to listen to that channel no matter who was. You could put a dog on there doing the show, and they would be watching it because they're Fox people, and that's it.
Right now, I think that they're going elsewhere. I really think that.
Where do you think they're going to?
Where are they going?
They may be going to Newsmax.
Yeah.
They're really pushing that.
Although Newsmax doesn't have as many clearances as they once had.
What's clearances?
Clearances are clearances of places that carry them. They're no longer carried on I believe on Viacom here in New York. Neither is what do you call it? The other one that we had, OAN. And I know that we don't get Newsmax on our Hulu subscription thing, where I get all these channels. But basically, there's Fox, and Fox owns the house. They still got the biggest ratings.
Yeah. Right now,
and they're nationwide, unlike some of these other ones.
Yeah.
Who do you watch, Fred?
What are you saying, Jeff?
How does Fred watch?
What?
Phil?
How do you look every day now?
I get up and I watch a pretty benign show on Fox called Fox and Friends. And it's, it's one of these ones where they're on the couch and they're discussing a few things, and it's almost like an infotainment show. And so I'll watch that for about 15 minutes, and then I will usually just watch some educational stuff on YouTube, and then I go to work.
Yeah.
And, all day at work, I'm not watching it.
Right. So, but, all I'm saying is that, I think Trump's has got a hard time ahead of him. And quite frankly, yeah. I don't think in the end he's going to get the nomination, because I think by the time it's time for the public to start considering who they want to see as their nominee in their particular party, I think that Trump is going to be so much up to his ass in trouble that it's just he's not going to be able to hold his.
And I
his
say
audience.
this, in previous elections, the people that were front runners usually were not the front runners when it came time for either the convention or even in the last the the 2016 election for the Republicans, Trump had a sizable lead. He was always in the middle, but prior to that, you always had this guy came up, whether it was Herman Cain or it was this one or that.
There was
one,
the flavor of the month.
Marco Rubio, the flavor of the month, exactly.
Yeah.
And right now, Trump is really the only known entity out there, and he's good at rallying his base, but he needs more than the base to win.
Yeah, but you've got Trump light. You got what's his name, DeSantis, who's kind of Trump light.
He's Trump light. I like.
DeSantis makes Trump look liberal. He's so conservative.
No, I don't agree with you on that. I think that DeSantis suffers from the same thing Trump did, is that he doesn't have any politics either. It's the politics of DeSantis getting elected.
I don't know. He's been governor for a term and a half or something.
Where do you guys sit on Robert Kennedy? Now, he's a Democrat, and he's declared against Biden, but he's a pretty interesting guy.
No, he's not. He's a fucking lunatic.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's a lunatic. Look, I didn't even have to say it. Brian was doing the lunatic sign.
Yeah, Kevin, too, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's because, anybody other than, the old guard, I guess. But, he's got some interesting points, and I think he's more like a...
I have interesting points, but I'm not running for president.
Yeah, but most of them are sticking
what
down
we
again.
need, what I think the Republicans need? I think they need a reasonable candidate. I think they need one person who isn't acting up like DeSantis or like Trump or whatever, and is just a slow, steady, ship sailing.
Somebody that'll take the company line and go with it?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Well,
I'm saying take a more...
How about Mike Pence?
Take a less... Let me put it this way, a less incendiary position. Not that they're going to give up on anything or they're going to not be a good conservative or whatever. In fact, Trump isn't a conservative. If you think he's a conservative, you're nuts. Neither is DeSantis. They are self-serving jerks. Okay? Now, I'll tell you, you talk about Chris Christie, okay? Let's talk about him for a second. I'd vote for him before I'd vote for either of those two guys.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
I mean,
he's the one that dropped out was Radcliffe.
Yeah, and by the way, I had it wrong the other day. I said he pulled out a sandwich out of his pocket on the Letterman show. It was a donut. Okay, so and then he had a cup of coffee. He dipped it in. Yeah,
but Radcliffe was, I think that's his name. I can't remember how they pronounce it, but I always liked him as a conservative. He was conservative, but he was a reasonable conservative.
Well, the Republicans have had great conservatives in the past. I think,
oh, you mean like McCain and Romney?
No, like George H.W. Bush.
I'm talking about people like what's his name?
Yeah, he ran against Johnson.
Goldwater. Yeah. I think that he was a real good conservative, and a truly honest person as well, and yet I would never voted for him because I'm not that kind of conservative. But truly he was a conservative. These guys aren't conservatives. The Republicans have really lost what it's like to be a conservative.
I gotta say that you said truly honest. I don't think either party is truly honest.
No, I look, today it's just who can make the most noise, And
I have a theory. I have a theory that the first party that has the balls to shed the crazies, like alienate the crazy hard wing of their own party, will gain power for the next 10 years. But it's like ripping off a Band-Aid. It's like you got to do it. But we have a primary system, man. It's tough, man. You got to win.
I'll tell you what we got. The primary system is one of the problems. The reason it's a problem is there is nothing in the Constitution that calls for a primary. Okay? There is nothing constitutional about a primary. This is a recent affectation of politics.
What did they do before primaries?
They went to conventions, and they all yelled at each other and negotiated with each other. And one guy came out as the nominee of the party, and then they went against the other party's nominee who did exactly the same thing. There were no primaries, and we don't need
the person with the most wins should win.
Well,
but that's sort of like a primary, though, isn't it?
No, but here's what I'm saying with the primaries. A primary, for instance, in New York State cost us multi-millions of dollars every 4 years. Yeah. And what are we doing? We're doing the business of the parties. We're not doing the business of the people and in electing somebody. The primary should be done away with. It's expensive, and if the parties want to hold a primary, then let them pay for it.
It's a money-making operation. Even like radio stations have what do they call that? The political charge, or there's
political rates. Yeah.
The political rate.
Yeah.
They make a fortune. TV.
Wait. No, they don't make a fortune. No, they don't make a fortune.
It's at the lowest.
You're not broadcasting. You don't know what you're talking about.
No, it's at the lowest. I advertise.
They have to do it. They have to charge at the lowest rate they charged any advertiser for that particular time period. Over the year.
I'm a merchant and I advertise. And I pay for advertising, and I'm familiar with the political rate because I usually ask for it. I don't deserve it, but I ask for it, and it's a place to negotiate from. Oh, I want the.
How do you prevent a primary, though? It almost seems the natural order of things.
No, but it isn't the natural order of things. It's only a recent affectation of politics, and there is, again, I say, nothing in the United States Constitution. It talks about elections every 4 years. It talks about House of Representatives every 2, and the Senate every 6, and blah, 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 blah. But it does not call for primaries.
Yeah, but what you described... first of all, I brought up the primary. I see the primary as an issue, but what you had explained that existed before the primaries, the convention, right?
Yeah.
That's a form of primary.
No, it's not. No, it's not a form of primary because we still have conventions. Only
And it was
now
done in the back room with cigars.
Yeah, cigars and people negotiating and then putting up a nominee and so on and so forth. I don't think there was a primary that nominated FDR.
Yeah, but it's a hashing out of who. I mean, I'm zooming out maybe 10,000 feet here. I'm saying a primary is the hashing out of who's going to be the nominee going forward for the general. So whether it happens at the convention or it happens through vigorous debate up into the convention, I mean,
all I'm saying is that the primaries are costing the states $1 billion a year every time they hold they hold these primaries. They're an expensive process, and it's the taxpayers of the state that are paying for it. When really it should be the parties, because they're the only ones who benefit from it.
Now, when they would take votes and they would go to Washington, my ex-wife's grandfather took the votes for Hoover, and
that's the electoral college.
He was a delegate.
Oh, okay.
And so if they had delegates, isn't that the same?
No. Here's what happens, Phil, and it shouldn't happen. We shouldn't have to put up with these primaries, because all they do is find out who the nominee of the party is going to be from that state. But it's only on the first ballot at the convention. So after the first ballot in any of those conventions, all bets are off. So the primary system flies out the window after the first ballot.
Why were they saying they didn't want people to change, or they couldn't change their primary vote?
No, you're thinking about the electoral college.
Oh,
you're thinking about the electoral
but
college.
does it really fly out the window if it holds water?
It flies out the window after the first vote in the convention. They're no longer obligated to vote for those people from their state. If they goes to a second ballot, the whole thing can be turned on its ear, and the guy who won the primaries might not wind up getting the nomination.
Has that ever happened?
God, what's the
Happened.
solution?
It's happened a lot. Yeah, what?
What would be the solution, though? I mean, academically
Solution
speaking.
is no primaries. Just screw you, have your convention, figure out who the nominee is going to be. We'll figure out who the nominee on our side is going to be, and may the best man win. Or woman.
So you're for the two-party system. You don't want to.
No, I'm for a 100-party system if that's what it takes to make politics honest. I'm not talking about a two-party system here. But anyway, I got a theme song running here. Oh boy, it's been a good one tonight, hey?
Yeah.
Jeff, always thank you. It kind of looks like the Hollywood Squares. Thank you for being the top square again, Jeff.
Thank you.
Urkel gets the
thank
square.
you. By the way, we can't even see Brian anymore with an eye. Brian, are you still there?
I'm waiting.
Yep, he's still there.
I'm gonna fall asleep.
I better not have you turn on your dome light, because then you might use up all your electricity for the car. Anyway, thank you very much, Brian. I appreciate it. Phil, thank you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. Same thing goes to our good friend Kevin, and Brian with a Y. Thank you so much for being here as well. We really enjoyed
Alan
it. Oh, and Alan. I didn't thank you, Alan. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
No, that's all right. I thank you. Now shut up and go away.
Yeah,
anyway, thank you so much for being with me tonight. I appreciate it. Bye-bye, everybody. Wave goodbye. Yeah, there they go, folks. That's our citizen panel for tonight. By the way, Jack Bishop will not be on next because he's had to go to the hospital. And hopefully he'll be back tomorrow night. But in the meantime, we'll just go on with our regular round of programming when we leave here. And thank you for joining us tonight. I'll see you tomorrow night, same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Good night, everybody.